Here's my #1 trick for better storytelling, even if you're a beginner. Ready? Zoom in on a moment. Not on me, but on a moment. Here's what I mean by that. I was in a cab with my daughter, and the ads on the cab TV were playing, and every single one of them, a real estate ad, a makeup ad, an ad for a new restaurant or shop in the food market, all mentioned story. But none of them told a story. My daughter, who has helped me edit some reels and knows how annoyed I get by non-story stories, noticed me rolling my eyes and asked in a judicial tone, probably taught it to her, "Well, Mama, if that is not a story," referring to the restaurant ad, "how would you help them make it a story?" She was definitely implying that I should stop complaining and offer a solution instead of just pointing at the problem. She is almost a teenager, so I'll give her that. And I took her up on the challenge. I said I would tell them to focus on a moment. In the ad, while boasting that there's nothing that pairs better with food than a good story, they shared that the new food establishment was started by a cook who had recently immigrated to New York City. There were quick clips of the various grab-and-go fare, but nothing memorable. And I said to my daughter, he could have said, I grew up in Peru, and when I would get home from school, from wherever, my mother was always cooking. She was always in the kitchen cooking one of her signature dishes. They could name a few, flash some photos on the screen with that quick edit. And I would get home from school or playing football, and I would be starving, so I'd always try to sneak in and grab a bite behind her back, and she would turn around and slap my hands and shoo me out of the kitchen, and I would laugh, and she would scowl, and then she would laugh. And even though I hated waiting, it was always so good. I wanted to bring those smells and that flavor and the playfulness of my mother in our kitchen in Peru to New York City. And yes, if you try to reach in and grab the food before it's ready, I might slap your hand away, but it'll be worth the wait when you take a bite. Now, I don't know if that's a true story. I made it up in the cab, but it is the technique I want you to pay attention to tell a story instead of just mentioning there's a story there. The technique is to choose a specific moment. In this case, it was arriving home in his mother's kitchen. Couldn't you just picture it? Imagining the sweetness of a mother and son, the sizzle of the pans, the motion in the kitchen. Here's what I want you to do. Take a look at your website where it says "our story," or type up and print out what you typically say in an effort to tell your story. And once you have your likely non-story in front of you, take a look at it. And think back to just one specific moment on that journey. One kitchen moment. Maybe you own a local boutique where you sell unique and thoughtful gifts, okay? And your website says, "We are a locally owned boutique that handpicks and curates thoughtful gifts and treasures for the people in your life and their special occasions." Not a story, but fine. However, in thinking of what story you could tell and looking through the moments, maybe you remember a time when you wanted to buy a thoughtful gift for a med school graduation gift for your former nanny / babysitter. And everywhere you went, it was just the same old, but you didn't know what else to do and you were running out of time. So you ended up showing up to the graduation party with a gift card in an envelope, and the whole time you were at the party, you were eyeing the gift table that was piling with these beautiful, thoughtful gifts and bags and boxes, and feeling pretty embarrassed and frustrated that you weren't able to find a gift that represented the uniqueness of this graduate and how special she was to you. And that's when you decided to open your local boutique where you sell unique and thoughtful gifts. But zooming in on that moment at the graduation party, that's where you will find your story. Once you have the moment, You can build out around it, adding in the events or situations leading up to the moment. You can build into the moment, adding in the emotions and a few details. But if you're struggling, if you really want to use a story, but it feels just outside your grasp, like it's just right there, that's where your story is hiding, in a moment. Practice zooming in on that moment and your story is waiting there. Did this help? All right, let me know. And if you have any questions, send them my way. You know, maybe I can revamp your non-story because I can't wait to hear the stories you'll tell.